a penalty. So it's one personal foul is charged against the opponent, and if non-shooting player is fouled. So when non-shooting player is fouled, then the game resumes and with a throw-in by the non-offending team from the place which is nearest the infraction. If offending team is what? When player is in the act of shooting. The player is awarded a number of free throws, and if the shot from the free if the shot is successful, then they'll get 1 point from the free throw. So if the shot was taken from 2-point field, then they'll get 2 points, and if the shot was taken from 3-point, then they'll 3-point field, then they'll get 3 points.
So double foul is when two opponents, like the two team members, two players from different teams, they foul each other at almost the same time. So if both the players sort of hit each other or are stopping each other from going somewhere, that's a double foul. So in that situation, neither team is given any free throws. One personal foul is charged against both of those players. If a valid field goal is scored, then the throw in is awarded to the non-scoring team. So if when the foul happened, one of the team scores a valid goal, the throw in for the start is given to the non-scoring team from anywhere near on the end line. If a team was in control of the ball, so if one team was in control of the ball when the foul happened, the ball is returned to that same team. And if neither of the team had a control of the ball, so if it was a loose ball, then a jump foul is done to decide who gets the ball. Okay, Rudra. Rudra.
Of a referee. So the referee has to inspect and approve all equipment which is used during the game. So he looks at for the game clock, the 24 seconds, the stopwatch, and he has to recognize all the officials. So he selects the ball, at least 2 balls, by given by home team or the best one available, and so no so wait where so not permit, and so he can't permit any players to wear objects which may cause injuries. So he administers jump ball and throw ball, and for all the other periods. So he has the power to stop the game when required. Power to determine that a game shall forfeit the team shall forfeit the game. He examines the score sheet at the end of the game and record forfeit, disqualifying fouls or unsportsmanlike behavior by anyone.
By anyone, as in it can be a player or a coach or an assistant coach or anyone
or officials, anyone. So he makes the final
call if
final
official.
decision, like all the
If all
decisions
the
he makes.
game,
He consults the umpire.
so it's like if the if officials and someone else thinks it's not a foul, so then the referee has the final call. He decide his decision is the final one, and for to make that he can consult the umpire.
And he
Yeah, go on.
so and power to make decisions not specifically mentioned in those rules. Next,
Is Rudra there, or should I do this?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm there. So the duties of scorer and assistant scorer. The duty of the scorer and the assistant scorer, they have to keep record of the names and numbers of all players and substitutes. So they have to keep write the names of everyone and their numbers, and for the players who come in during the game, and he has also have to notify an official if there's any infraction of rules of the team. So if he thinks that a team has broken some rules, then he has to notify an official. He has
Yeah,
to
and
keep
that is in terms of numbers and stuff. Like
yeah.
if,
So
if a team has
if
two
by
two
mistake two
players of the
players have
same
the
number,
yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, so he has to keep record of points scored and free throws taken
can you hear
for all
me?
players.
Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah.
continue.
Then he has to keep a record of numbers of fouls charged against each player and notify the official when a player gets five personal fouls and two unsportsmanlike fouls. So if you get five personal fouls, then you're supposed to be disqualified and removed out of the game, and the scorer and the assistant scorer have to keep time of this. They have to keep record of timeouts, like how many timeouts a team has taken, and how many from what is given. So then he has to indicate the number of fouls by a marker visible to both coaches. So on the score sheet, there should be a separate uh, area for the number of fouls so the coaches can see. Then he keeps record of the position of the team foul marker nearest to the team bench. Then he has to keep a record of how many substitutions are there. Uh, then he has to keep a record of when the signal sounds before the ball becomes dead or alive. So how many times the ball went outside, how many times the ball became dead, and all of that.
So now these are techniques of techniques used in the game. So one main one is dribbling, and there are different types of dribblings. So first one is high dribble. So high dribble is used to move the ball up the court very fast. So if you get the ball in the starting of the period, you do a high dribble and take it to the opponent side of the court, and then you start doing the other things. So for that you have to stand straight up and push the ball forward while running, so it bounces up to your waist and not higher than that. A change of pace is like when you it's used to lose your defender. So it's like an unexpected move which causes the defender to lose his balance. So you slow down first, so your defender thinks that you're going to pass or do something else, but then you quickly accelerate, so then he falls back and he's not able to catch up. A crossover is just when you bounce the ball from your right hand towards your left hand. So you stay low, and then you push the ball from one side to the you flick the ball from one side to the other hand. between the legs is like crossover, but this time the ball is passed from the left hand to the right hand from between the legs. So yeah, so you do the same thing. You flick the ball from one hand to the other through the legs. You stay low and you spread your legs up, like far, and so the ball can go easily. And this is done when the defender is very close to you and he's overplaying you. So to lose that defender, you do this so he doesn't get hold of the ball. Behind the back is again, it's like this helps you change directions very fast and gives you a good view of the court. So you dribble with one hand. When you're dribbling with one hand, you put the opposite leg forward, and then you wrap the ball around your hand, and then you flick it towards the other hand. So you can visualize how it goes. So yeah, now passing.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
So passing. So chest pass. So you hold the ball in front of your chest. Your arm should be relaxed and elbow should be close to your body, and your knee should be bent. And you pass the ball by extending your knees and arms and knees. So bounce pass is when you throw the ball at a certain space on the floor, so it bounces up to the waist of the receiver. Baseball pass, ball so in baseball pass, the ball you take the ball behind the head, supported by one palm. Then your opposite foot places forward.
So it's basically is when you get a rebound on the defensive side, which is on your own side, when the opponent shoots and you get the rebound, and you pass the ball to the point guard so he can take the ball ahead. That's an outlet pass. And a no look pass is like what it sounds like. You don't look at the player you're going to pass. You're looking somewhere else, and then you have any in whatever way you pass it to a person somewhere behind you, next to you, somewhere you're not looking.
Yeah. Yeah. So shooting, it has different types of you know techniques. So one is the layup shot. So for layup shot, you have to dribble the ball towards the basket and take not more than two steps before leaping at the basket to release the ball. Then jump shot. So jump shot, you have to stand in a triple threat position, uh, and you have to looking at the rim. So now a triple threat position is
Is the standard throwing jump? So you stand on both your feet, your ball is in front of your body, and you're ready to shoot. That's like the standard shooting position.
yeah. So and it's like it's more of you know it's used by every player, so they can be aggressive. So it's yeah, so it's there. So and then you look up at the rim and you hold the ball with your strong hand, so whichever hand you're comfortable with, your right or left, and you bring your arm up and straighten the elbow. So it's kind of like a normal shot, if you see. Then a hook shot. So a hook shot is you face sideways towards the basket, And you hold the ball in the hand facing away, and you fling the ball over your head. So yeah, and a free throw. Free throw. So a free throw should you should have an elbow of 90 degrees and the fingers spread out. Then you straighten your elbow and you give a spin to the ball. Then bank shot. A bank shot, the ball enters the basket after bouncing off the backboard. So it's not necessary that the ball goes straight inside. It can hit the ring or hit the backboard and come inside. And this is used for accuracy. So slam dunk. So slam dunk is basically yeah. So slam dunk is basically when the player jumps up in the sky and slams the ball into the opponent's basket. Yeah, forces the ball through the ring.
Three kinds. So firstly, there's man to man. So every player is assigned a man. So who like they have to defend that one man. So they stay with the player and they stop him from shooting or getting passes or passing the ball to someone else. So when the player has the ball, the defender has to stay between his that player and the basket, so they can block if he tries to shoot. And if the person doesn't have the ball, then it's not necessary that you stay between the man and the basket. You can stay between one player and another player, or that can differ based on the situation. Then there is zone defense. So on one court, on one half, there are zones in each of which are assigned to players. So the most common is 2-3. So you'll see on the two players will be standing next to under the basket, close to the basket, and three players will be standing on the free throw line. So it's like a perimeter of the restricted area. So they stand like that. That's the most common. Then there is combination defense. So it's a mixture of these two. So some players will be covering one player. They'll all be given one man, and the others will defend zones. So this is used when there is a very strong offensive player. So like this may be used against someone like Gule. So like if there are players like that, one player is always on that one man, and the rest can be defending their own zones. There are offense also has different types. Early offense is like as soon as you
Can you
get
guys
the
hear
ball.
me,
Yeah.
guys?
So the offenses. So first is early offense. So as soon as you get the ball, you uh, you run forward with your team. So the defense doesn't get a chance to settle down. So they can't react to what you're doing. They have to just do something. They can't settle down and do some proper defense, so that breaks the defense. Then there's set offense. So you give the defense time to settle in their half, and then you go. So in set offense, you use more of passing and moving around and stuff like that. Motion offense is also similar. You do a lot of passing and lot of movement that confuses the of defending team, and which gives you scoring opportunities. Then there is zone offense. So the same as zone defense, every player is in one zone and pass it they pass that way. So this is to set off man to man defense. It's like when each person is on a man, then this offense sort of confuses them, because now every player is always in one place, and it's just confusing for the team. Then there is spread defense. So here the players stay away from the restricted zone, and they this opens up the inside area, the basket area, giving them more opportunities of scoring. So like cutting in and stuff like that. There's more space to do that.
Rebounding. So there are two types of reboundings. One is the defensive. One is defensive rebounding. So defensive rebounding is when the defense obtains the ball after a missed shot. So if a player does not score and the defensive team gets possession of the ball, that's defensive rebounding. And offensive rebounding is like the opposite of defensive rebounding is when the offensive team retains the ball after a missed shot. Yeah, so pivot. So pivoting is one defined as turning around the body to either side by using any leg as support. And one leg must be fixed on the floor and the other may move. So if you move the leg fixed on the floor, then it'll be counted either if you it'll be counted as one a travel if you take more than 3 steps, or yeah.
So now these are all the terms which are used in the game. So they're not specific to anything. So air ball is when a person shoots and it misses. When a person shoots but misses everything, so it doesn't touch the ring, net, bar, backboard, nothing. Then alley oop is when one person shoots the ball or passes the ball, and another player in air catches the ball and then dunks it in or shoots it in or whatever. Blocking is when you stop a offensive player from you stop the offensive player's shot by putting your hand in the middle. Box out is like a defense technique, so it's used to get more rebounds. So you keep the other player away from the basket by uh, spreading out your stance. So you spread out your hands and legs, so that guy stays behind you and doesn't come ahead. Jump stop is when you run and both you come to a stop, you running and then you jump and you land on both feet and you stop. That's jump stop. Why is block there again?
No,
Okay, so
apparently
it's
it's two different things.
so it's the area outside the key in which box rectangular blocks are painted. What does that mean, Rudra?
So, so you guys, on the court, there's something called a key. So, if you see the semicircle on the free throw area where you take the free throw, that's called the key, right? So, the block is basically those side areas that are painted where other players have to stand while someone is taking a free
Right.
throw.
Oh,
That
okay.
is a block.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, then Rudra just
Yeah.
says
So
that.
a carry. So a carry is a foul that occurs when a player holds the ball at the apex while dribbling. Okay, and it results in a turnover. So a turnover is basically when the other team gets possession of the ball. So that's a turnover. So
Apex is when you hold it below the half.
yeah. So then charge. So charge occurs when an offensive player with the ball rams into a defensive player. So the defensive player has to be stationary. If he's moving, then it's not a charge. If he's stationary and the offensive player hits him or knocks him over, then it's a foul, and this also results in a turnover. So double dribble. So double dribble occurs when a player dribbles the ball in both hands. So you use both hands to dribble, and it also occurs when a player picks up the ball after dribbling and starts dribbling again. And this foul also results in a turnover. So front court. is the half of the court where the offensive team has to score. And then a fast break is an action where the offensive team attempts to score as quick as possible.
A screen is when you stand in the way of a defensive player. So you stand in way of a defensive player. So the player that player was defending gets to move and pass the ball or score ahead. Traveling is when you take more than 3 steps. You take more than 2 steps after holding the ball, and uh, that is a that results in a turnover. So the other team is given the ball. Possession arrow is used by the officials to determine which team has to take the throw, like which team has to start the game with a throw in. A press is a strategy when the defending defending team keeps tries to uh, keep the offending team as starts their defense as close as possible to their half of the court. So it makes it difficult for them to come to their close to their basket. So then a double foul, I explained when players of different teams foul each other approximately at the same time. A dead ball is any time when the ball is dead. So after a field goal, the ball is dead. After a free throw attempt, after the official whistles, or when the ball goes out of bounds. Yeah, Rudra.
Yeah, so a dunk is like mentioned before, a shot made by a player by jumping and forcefully slamming the ball in the basket. So a fake is a movement used to deceive an opponent. So something like changing direction or suddenly stopping, it can be called a fake. Or so a field goal is is a normal basket. So when the player shoots the ball and the ball enters in the opponent's basket, the loose ball is when the ball is alive but not in possession of any team. Possession is when a player has a control of the ball and the player's team is said to be in possession of the ball. So timeout is, like said before, a period of 60 seconds during the game. While the timeout, the play stop and there is an allowance for both teams to discuss. So a jump ball is when the ball is tossed in the air and the opposing team's players have to reach for it. It either happens to start the game or restart the game in case of any foul. So the backcourt is the half of the court that belongs to a defensive team. So the team who's defending their court is called the backcourt. The ball handler is the player with the ball. Yeah.
Backcourt is also that foul when you pass the ball back to foul in which the offensive team crosses the half line and then sends the ball back to their half and touches the ball then also. So then these are the few of the international and national governing bodies of basketball. One is the Basketball Federation of India, which is a national association. The Federation of International Basketball Association is a international association. Then these are a few championships of basketball: UBA Pro Basketball League, FIBA World Championship, European Basketball Championship, FIBA Asian Cup.